What's going on, everybody? This is Brian Mazik, aka Unique Mazik, the hardest working man in sports and gaming. And let's talk a little bit more about NBA Live. I've been kind of going back and forth with the videos between 2K and Live up until the time that both of the games release. And this particular time, I want to talk about the franchise mode for Live, which I think is one of the areas that it definitely needs to be improved. Some more layers and depth added to the game overall. So I got 5 suggestions that I think need to be added to the game, or into the mode to make it better. All right, everybody, let's get that like button tapped. And also don't forget to click the notifications bell after you subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, we're getting ahead of ourselves a little bit there, but subscribe and then click the notifications bell so that you'll know when new videos are coming out. It's all basketball all the time. All right, so the first thing that I think that we need to see from a Live's franchise mode is deeper stat tracking. So it's not as if they don't have any stat tracking at all. So it's not like they only have points, rebounds, and assists. But when you look across the board at some of the other sports video games out there, 2K, MLB The Show, Madden's not really a good one. Madden's stat tracking is kind of bad, actually. But definitely MLB The Show and NBA 2K, the stat tracking is really deep. Like, it's almost like you pulled up Basketball Reference or like you pulled up Baseball Reference. You can see all kinds of stuff. It just goes deep, deep, deep. And it's really very surface level with Live, which I think is kind of symbolic of the way they've handled their franchise mode recently anyway. It's just really, most of it is just surface level. And I think if they want to improve or drastically improve this mode, then that's one of the things they need to address. Unfortunately, I'm not necessarily sure that Live's direction is really going to be catering to the offline player too much. So that's one thing to consider. The next thing is franchise-specific commentary. So I think this is really important. As one of the most neglected things in franchise modes is actually, having commentators during games say things that are specific to the franchise mode itself. So if I'm going for whatever it is I'm going for, if I got, like, this is my third 30-point game of the season, or if I'm playing MLB The Show and I'm on a 17-game hit streak, or if I haven't been shooting the ball well over the past 10 games, just little references to things like that I think add a lot to the immersion. And if you are a franchise mode player, then you probably appreciate that kind of stuff. Now, if you're only a person that plays online and maybe Park and Pro-Am or the One Edition, then you probably don't see as much of a use for that. But if you're a franchise guy, you definitely understand where I'm coming from. Better respect to the NBA salary cap, I think is also important. I think 2K does a pretty good job of sticking to the salary cap. There's a couple areas that they miss there too. But I mean, 2K has things like the Stepien rule and all kinds of stuff from the collective bargaining agreement that are in place. And I think that's impressive. And Live does not have nearly as much in terms of the salary cap and the current financial dynamics in the NBA. So I would really like to see them step it up as far as that's concerned. Another thing is more customization options, period. The best franchise modes allow you to customize a lot of stuff because you're kind of in your own little world and you're in your own little sports world, and you want to create it and do different things, and you want to live out all of the different what if fantasies and that kind of stuff. You want to do that, and a lot of that has to do with being able to edit players from top to bottom, the way you can do like in MLB The Show and now Madden, as well as in 2K. And then also 2K does something that really no other sports video game does for their franchise mode, which is allow you to edit teams, rebranding teams and relocating teams. I would love to see that kind of freedom come to NBA Live. Last, and I don't necessarily know if it's least or not least, but the moments feature. NBA, no, I should say Madden kind of revolutionized the, to a degree, they revolutionized the whole concept of accelerating the single game experience. It might have been MLB The Show actually that came up with the quick counts first. I can't remember if Madden Moments was out before quick counts, but either way, both things are, both features are a way to kind of accelerate the whole gaming process. Now, live has something called live moments, but if you've ever played it, you know that it's really nothing more than simming up to a point. So you go into live moments and they say, do you want to sim to the first half? You want to sim to the end of the fourth quarter, the last 2 minutes, or whatever it is. And it doesn't have any real depth to it. Like, it would be better if it functioned like the show. Like the show, MLB The Show will say, so-and-so is on a 10-game hitting streak. He's on his last at bat. You can take control of him here and try to extend his hitting streak. So obviously that's a baseball scenario, but something like you're up 19 points and you're blowing a 20-point lead. The lead has been trimmed down to 8. Stop, the Spurs run or something to that effect. Or Michael Jordan has had 10 straight 30-point games. With 5 minutes remaining, he only has 18. Can you score 12 in the last 5 minutes and win the game to continue his 30-game win streak, hit 30 points per game, 30-point game, streak or what have you? Just different things like that I think would add some depth and life to the moments feature. Right now it's just kind of naked and they need to put some clothes on it. So that's all I got for you today. As usual, guys, I talk sports and I talk gaming, and I always appreciate you watching. God bless and peace.
How could I be weak? I'm rather unique.